Welcome once again, Soul Train Cruise guests and fans. I'm Jerry Wells, here to substitute for Jason Venner, our cruise director, who unfortunately is a little under the weather. So best wishes to Jason. But I'm on the ready to Zoom with our good friend, I would say, and a friend to everybody, the kind of person everybody thinks they know. And this I'm talking about the Grammy-nominated multi-million selling artist Jeffrey Osborne. Jeffrey, hello. How are you, man?
And I'm good. How you doing, Jerry?
Man, it's good to see you again. Good to talk to you once again.
Yeah.
And of course, now here we are with the pandemic hopefully winding down. You're resuming touring and performing. How does that feel?
It feels good to finally get back out there. It's been a long time. It's been since February of 2019. So
Wow, yeah.
it's been a long time. I think I've had one show so far, a couple of months ago. That was my first show out in Florida, of all places. Big Sea Breeze Festival. But it was nice to see so many people out, and people seem to really be enjoying the fact that they can get back out and resume some kind of normality with their lives.
Yeah, everybody's missed, especially doing live events. There's a lot of live streaming going on and everything, but there's nothing like being in person. And I know a lot of artists speak of receiving energy from the audience when they perform.
Right?
Is that also the case with you?
Oh yeah, I think that's the beauty of performing live. There's a chemistry that happens between you and the audience, and you give and they give back, and it's just a beautiful thing. You don't get that anywhere else. I can be in a studio singing all day long, but I don't get that feedback. I don't get that warmth from the crowd, and that's what kind of drives me. I mean, my favorite thing is performing live. That's
Yeah.
my favorite thing. Recording is fine, but recording don't mean nothing unless you can go do it live and feel what the people are enjoying about your music. You want to feel that energy, and that's the beauty of being out there.
Right. Now, the last time I saw you perform in person actually was on the cruise, 2018. You did the concert, and I'll never forget because you did it differently than anybody else. You came from the back of the hall down the center aisle singing,
Right.
You Should Be Mine, a woo woo song. And
Uh-huh.
then you handed off the microphone to a couple of other people who were in the audience. Clifton Davis was there that day.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That's
Howard
right.
Hewitt was up in the balcony, and you tossed the microphone up to Howard.
I did. That was kind of crazy. Kind of threw it up there and hope he didn't drop
I think, as I recall, I think he missed it the first time,
it.
but he threw in a couple of bars, and my wife was so excited because you gave her the mic and she got to woo woo with you.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So
All right.
yeah, she still talks about that. I mean, and it was such a great concert because you give so much to the audience, and people can feel that. When it's just another performance or when you're really into it and feeling that energy, like you mentioned, people can really tell. And
Yeah,
so when
I
you
think
do
so.
that, that heightens the response of people who are viewing the show. Now you're back touring again. I looked on your website. You got dates going all the way up to November.
Yeah, right now, and they're filling in rapidly, because what happened was so many dates got postponed from 2019 and 2020 that
Yeah.
we're now trying to stack all of those dates into August, September, October. People waited for the COVID restrictions to loosen up a little bit so they could have more capacity in the theaters and in the venue at the venues in general. So everything is kind of stacking up. It's kind of interesting because it seems like everybody's going to be out at the same time. We're all going to be robbing tickets from one another. It's going to I'll be here.
Everybody was waiting, say, okay,
Yeah,
let's go.
exactly. But I think it's a fun time to get back out. We're all been just sitting around doing nothing. I mean, so we gotta we got to get the dust off ourselves here.
Yeah, well, the audiences are eager to see people in person once again. Speaking of, being idle, what did you do, during the pandemic? I mean, when you couldn't perform live, I mean, I'm sure, you rehearsed and you kept your vocal chops tight and everything like that. But, how do you fill that time when you're accustomed to going out there and performing in front of people?
Well, I fortunately I was able to do a lot of virtual stuff, a lot of virtual shows. It's like you said, it's not the same. It's
Mhm.
it's still that kind of cold feeling. You don't get that feedback and that response. But I got a chance to actually reflect and get into my inner self
Mhm.
and you know try to understand what I've been doing, what I want to continue doing, and how to continue to develop.
Mhm.
Because I think I took a lot for granted, and I think a lot of us as artists, we just do what we do, and sometimes we take a lot for granted. And I don't think I did vocal exercises in years. I just was working every week, so I
That
didn't
kinda
have
took
to
care
get
of that, I guess.
exactly. Now with this downtime, I'm like, oh wow, I gotta knock the rust off here. So I actually got a chance to sit home every day and do vocal exercises, which is something, like I said, that is it's been so helpful to me. I didn't realize how much I didn't do it before. I just took it, like I said, I took everything for granted. And now that I've started doing that, it's kind of opened me up a little bit more. I used to play drums in LTD. When I started with the group, I was the drummer. I played on all the records. Haven't picked up drumsticks since 1975 when they
Wow.
made me stand out front.
Yeah.
And so I got back into drumming.
Mhm.
Things that I didn't really have the time to do, I decided I needed to get back, and I had so much time. So I decided that I was going to get behind the drums and shed a little bit. It ain't the same. It ain't the same like it was in 1975.
Like, knocking off some of that rust, you know?
I knocked them off, I'm uh I'm entertaining the thought of playing in my show.
Oh,
Playing a
okay.
song on drums in my show.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to get myself back in the form here and maybe do a song singing and playing from the drums.
Singing
So
and begins that
so
that
I've got
must really be strenuous, singing and playing at the same time,
well, I
especially for
never
drums.
thought about it like that. When I was growing up, that's what I did. I played born and raised in Providence, Rhode Island, played in all the nightclubs, and I played drums and sang. And I never thought of it as doing two things at once. I always thought it was just one thing that I was doing,
Mhm.
which made it easy for me. I think if you think, oh, I got to do this, and I got this hand, got to do this, and this hand, and that hand, and I got to sing,
And you got
you
the
get
foot, and you got
confused.
all
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
But I just did it, and it was natural, and so I haven't had a chance to play in years, and so I think I'm gonna do it in the show. I think I'm gonna do a song in the show. By the time the Soul Train cruise rolls around, I'll have it all together, and I'll be able to sit down and I think it might be entertaining. I don't know. I'm
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 pretty
I'm
sure.
playing around with the thought. I don't know whether people are going to enjoy it of me now going to the back and sitting behind the drums and playing a song, or whether I should just stay out front. But I'm thinking about adding one song to the show like that.
Well, that'll be great. And I was looking again, like I mentioned, on the website, and it's hard for me to believe this. When you stepped out from the band and went solo was back in 1980. That's 40 years ago. I
Yeah, I
mean, and
know.
it doesn't seem, it doesn't seem like that long. And I remember because shortly after you went solo, I had an opportunity to interview with my on-air partner when at WDAS, Patty Jackson.
Oh yeah,
And you
right,
came around promotional tour, and you came in the studio when we talked, and that was right after your first self-titled release came out. And I said, "Wow, 40 years? Are you serious?"
right.
Just doesn't seem that way. But your
Yeah,
music is so timeless that I think people don't think of anything as being dated because it just doesn't sound that way. When you hear On the Wings of Love, when you
right.
hear I'm Only Human, those are real songs. And to me, unfortunately, there's kind of a dearth of that right now. You're hearing people
Yeah,
talking over a track as opposed to a song that really tells a story. So that
yeah. Well, that's the beauty of the Soul Train cruise. You get to hear real songs. You get to go back in time. You get to reflect. It's the songbook of your life that
yes,
you're getting ready to experience on the Soul Train. It's everything you grew up with. It's amazing. So many great acts, so many great songs, and that's what makes the Soul Train cruise what it is. I think that's why people come out they get a chance to listen to those great songs and reflect on all the things. It just songs take you back to moments in your life, to special moments in your life.
Yes.
So that connection with people coming and people, I always think that people that go on cruises really want to get out and enjoy themselves.
Mm.
They worked hard, they saved up a little money. They want to now enjoy life, and everybody is just has a great spirit about them, and that's also the beauty of it.
Yeah, well, the Soul Train cruise really has that, and people actually virtually, actually, just get to enjoy each other's company because you have people on the Soul Train cruise literally from all over the world.
Yeah.
And it really opened my eyes on my first cruise. I would think the first time my wife and I went was 2017, and we had never been on any cruise at all, so that was our first cruise experience.
All right.
But the Soul Train cruise, meeting people from Japan and from England and all over Europe and Africa. There was a group of people from Ghana.
Yeah.
First time we went there, and everybody just partying together. Everybody sharing the love of Soul Train and the whole experience of Soul Train, the TV show and the cruise and everything like that. It was just incredibly awesome. Now, this coming cruise, you're on there with such an incredible lineup. I mean, Gladys Knight, Russell
Yeah.
Tompkins Jr., the New Stylistics, Charlie Wilson, Freddie Jackson. I mean, how can you, do wrong on a cruise like that? I want to know if there's anybody in particular that you were eager to see.
Well, the funny thing is I've worked with all of those people. That's the beauty of entertainment. I got a chance to grow up in this industry with Charlie, was LTD and the Gap Band and the Stylistics, and me and Gladys did tours together. And it's just, all of these people and you have such great relationships and you still admire these people because these people are like, they are the groundbreaking legends,
Oh, yeah.
they're just legendary. And the amazing thing is that they're still doing it, and to get a chance, you don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss that. You want to catch people while they're around, while they're vibrant, and they still sound good. Gladys sounds amazing still.
Amazing.
Charlie sounds amazing still. So, it's
Well, don't forget yourself because you sound awesome. I mean, and you think sometimes years take off a little bit of the edge or anything like that, but in concert, man, you brought it just as well as it was on those records way back years ago. So thankful. I mean, we're really looking forward to seeing you, and of course, the band. You had a great band. Uh,
yeah.
so it's going to be just exciting. You're going to do any other special things, like I mentioned, the drum workshop.
Well, no, I haven't been asked to do the drum workshop. I'm not sure. I haven't been asked, and that's something that you kind of have to prepare. You got to know who the drummers are on board, if they're willing to come. And that the beauty of it was the last time. I had so many drummers that were eager to do it. It seems like for me, I always felt like the drummer is like the lowest guy on the totem pole, and nobody notices the drummer. That's how I felt coming up. Before I got into LTD, I was playing behind all these different people, and they just, they kind of take the drummer for granted, and to me, the
Well, I don't
drummer
think the
is
audience
the
does.
backbone.
I don't
Huh?
think the audience does. I think the
Yeah, but
audience
you know
really,
what I mean? Yeah,
yeah.
the audience, I mean, that is the feel. That is the root of everything,
Oh,
the
yeah.
drummer. So the audience can't ignore that feel. But a lot of times the person goes unnoticed. A lot of people don't know the names of all these drummers, and they're incredible, incredible musicians. And I've always felt, I used to do shows behind people and somebody make a mistake and they turn around and look at me and I'm like, I didn't do it. Are you looking at the drummer?
Well,
I'm
that's the bottom, like you said. That's basically
exactly.
that's what propels the whole band.
So
So
that's what
yeah.
makes the drum workshops so great, is that these drummers get to come out to the forefront. They get to tell their story and they get to show you uh, different things that make drumming what it is, the rudiments and all the things that come into play. And, they can tell you so much about the recordings they were on and It was amazing. I remember before Ricky Lawson passed, he was telling this story during the drum workshop, and he said, you know, the most incredible moment I had on a record was just one beat, and it was just a pop. He said, and that was the biggest moment for me as a drummer, and it was Whitney Houston's song, "I'll Always Love You." You know,
Oh, wow, yeah.
and you know, and then and it comes to that, and it comes to that moment where it just stops and it goes, pop, and you know, and he
Oh,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
that one spot was just one snare drum, and it just woke that record up. It just went bow, and then modulated, boom. And I
Mhm.
said, yes, it's incredible. You know, so you don't think about it, and then when you listen to the record, you get to that spot, and you're like, oh wow, it's just that one isolated drum, bow.
Well, I guess I kind of key on that. Just listening for like you, I grew up listening to a lot of jazz.
Oh yeah,
And I think jazz really hones your ear as a listener. I'm not a musician, but in listening to what everybody is doing, you know, the keyboards, the
right,
drummer, the bass player,
exactly.
and really paying attention to that, it kind of tunes your ear, even listening to other genres, when you're listening to
Yeah,
R&B or
without a
whatever,
doubt.
and you really feel, what's going on. I have an album like here that kind of typifies that. You've seen this one before?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite records, man. I always wanted to do a jazz record. You know, I had always talked to George Duke about it over and over because George was my guy. I mean,
Yeah.
you talking about one of the most beautiful spirits ever. Was George Duke was that guy. And so I'd always tell George, yeah, man, I want to do a jazz record. He's like, oh, okay, man, but you're doing all these great records. I said, but I want to do a jazz record. And when I
Yeah.
do it, I want you to do it. So he said,
Mhm.
okay. So we finally got the chance to do it. And we did it with a small group. It was George Duke, there was Christian McBride on bass,
Mhm.
Paul
A
Jackson.
homeboy from Philly, Christian.
Yeah, Christian
Yeah.
McBride's amazing, man.
Mhm.
Paul Jackson Jr. on guitar and Lil Jon on drums. And basically that was it. And then George did some coloring, and we had a couple of guys come in and play some solos.
Mhm.
But it's just a nice collection of songs that I grew up listening to. And I do a jazz show every now and then.
Mhm.
I take half of my band and we do the jazz clubs around the country. So we'll go in and I'll do, things like Jazz Alley in Seattle, and
Oh, okay.
you know, Ram's Head up in Annapolis, and we do those kind of spots. And it's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. The only problem is people come in and they sit down and they're listening, and then they start yelling out, "Sing Love Ballad!"
So
Oh,
this is that kind of show.
back in
This
love
is
again. I was like, no, man, this is a jazz show.
no, it's like, no, you want to hear you don't know what love is, and stuff
Exactly.
like
Then
that.
like, no, so I got to mix it in. The only thing is I don't have my whole unit. I don't have background singers on the jazz show, so it's a little difficult. But we have fun and we
Yeah.
mix it all together. And it's one of the fun gigs that I have, a little jazz gig.
Yeah, well, really looking forward to seeing. You might want to sprinkle in a tune or two off in case any listeners
Yeah,
don't have it. It's called "A Time for Love."
I
But
think I did on one of the. I think on one of the Soul Train cruises, I did maybe two songs off that record.
mhm.
I think I know I did uh, "Wonderful World," and I'm trying to think of what other song I did off of that record. But I did a couple of songs
Mhm.
off of that record. Yeah, I love those kind of songs. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what I grew up listening to. I was the youngest of 12 in my family, so I had to wait my turn to
youngest of
listen to what
12.
I wanted to listen to. So I had to listen to Ella and Joe Williams and Billy Eckstine and Sarah Vaughan, and that was probably the greatest upbringing I could have,
I was going to
being
say there's some
exposed to
training
that.
involved, even when you're listening involuntarily, you're absorbing all of that.
Oh
And
yeah, oh
and,
yeah.
and so I
I
think that it helps to train your ear and your voice
uh,
and all of that too.
it's interesting because I found that you subconsciously listen and you take on certain things from certain other artists, and
Mhm.
I actually realized that a lot of my phrasing was kind of like phrased, kind of like listening to Gloria Lynn.
Oh,
Gloria Lynn was one of my favorite
oh,
singers, man.
me
And I
too,
used to
man.
listen to her, and I find myself phrasing like her. And I'm like, because I sat back one night and put on the Gloria Lynn record, and I'm like, wow, you know what? I stole a lot from Gloria.
If you're going to steal or borrow from the best.
There you
You know,
go. That's
so
right.
yeah, you're doing that, man, and you know, I'm really excited because you know, I guess to me, the Soul Train Cruise is kind of like a highlight of the year, for
Yeah.
me. You know, it combines a vacation, and I approach it. I'm a fan. You
Yeah.
know, and I do a lot of emceeing of events and things like that on the cruise, but I still approach it as a fan, and I can't wait to see people get up there and do their thing. Because you know, when I brought you on, I went out of backstage and came out and sat in the audience because I'm not staying backstage. I want to
You
experience
want to
the
see
whole
it. Yeah.
show. Oh yeah, just
Experience
like
it.
everybody
Yeah.
else, man. So
That's how I feel as an artist. I mean, I want to see the acts, I don't, when I go, I want to see everybody. So
yeah,
I try to slip in and I try to watch everybody. And I appreciate everyone for what they do. I know a lot of the groups, sometimes they don't have a lot of the original members anymore,
mhm.
but it don't matter. The songs are so good. It don't matter. You're just
Yeah.
sitting there. I mean, it just takes you back. You're like, oh my God, these songs are incredible.
Well, that's so cool on the cruise because you see the other artists going
Yeah,
to see each other, you know,
exactly.
and paying that respect. And then it's sort of like a reunion for a lot of them. Like you mentioned, you know, and you've worked with so many of the artists who are on this cruise and who have been on other cruises. And
Right.
the same kind of thing extends to the guests because with the Soul Train cruise, you have people coming back year after year after year, and you get to
Oh,
know people, and it's like a reunion for the guests as well.
it's a
You know,
net.
getting to
It's a
see
networking.
yeah,
They're
oh
doing some
sure.
networking on that group.
I mean, we've made great friends
Oh
from
yeah.
England and from Australia, and you know, we know a couple of couples who travel. I think they said 27 hours just to get to Florida to board the ship.
Ooh,
They
that's
come
cool.
from Australia, come from the
Yeah.
southern part of Australia. So they travel that and they come every single year. And, you know, we see them, and this is the kind of devotion that the Soul Train cruise has
Yeah.
among the guests who go. Once you go, you're hooked. You got to come back, you know.
Yeah.
So,
You're right. Exactly. I mean, I've done the Soul Train cruise. I'm thinking 4 or 5 times now,
mhm.
and I ran into some of the same people over and over. They just
Yeah.
keep coming
Oh,
back.
yeah. Well, it's great. I mean, it's kind of a family sort of thing, and especially with Tony and with Jason and with Angela, you know, people we really just we have a great time. We party, we walk around the ship and just mingle with everybody. And I've seen
Yeah.
you sticking your head in other people's concerts and all that.
Oh yeah. I get out there. I get out. I gotta go see it, man. If I'm there, I got to go see it.
That's cool. That's cool, man. It's really great to talk to you. And I wanted to mention a couple of other things too, because I know you have the Jeffrey Osborne Foundation.
Yeah.
And you do a lot of great work in around your hometown and everything like that. You want to tell us a little bit about what the foundation does and also how it was been
Yeah.
affected by the pandemic?
Well, the Jeffrey Osborne Foundation. I started doing a celebrity golf tournament in my hometown of Providence, Rhode Island, and I started with my brother Clay. He's an incredible jazz singer, and he passed away. And so I wanted to continue his legacy. So I started doing a celebrity golf tournament, and Magic Johnson would come and host it, and Smokey would come, and the OJs would come, and Philip Bailey would come, and Johnny Gill would come, and then Cedric, and then George Lopez, and we had the incredible list of celebrities, Dr. J, everybody.
Yeah,
And we would jam. It wasn't just a golf tournament. We get up on stage and we jam, and it became like the tournament back in Rhode Island.
yeah,
And after a couple of years, I created my own foundation and then switched it over. And so the Jeffrey Osborne Foundation is just I founded it to be able to give back to the community that I grew up in. I think nothing makes me feel better than to be able to go back home and give back
yeah.
to the people I know, the people I grew up with. And so far, we've had the tournament I guess 8 years we've done the tournament, and we've been able to give back over $1.5 million to the community.
Mhm.
So it's been really good, and people look forward to it. And of course, the pandemic kind of stopped it from happening last year.
Yeah.
And this year we decided to not do it because it's just a lot to ask my celebrities. I mean, because most of my celebrities come from LA. So
Yeah.
I'm flying them 3,000 miles to Rhode Island, and they're not just comfortable with just getting that many people to fly and stay in hotels for 2 nights and come to the big gathering. So we decided we wait until next year
Mhm.
and uh, and kick it back off next year.
Yeah.
But my foundation was recognized this year by the Newport Polo Association. Now
Wow.
I grew up, was born and raised in Providence, Rhode Island. Never knew they had a polo association in Newport, Rhode Island.
Mhm.
But I've been gone since 1970, so
Mhm.
that's 50 years I've been gone, and the Polo Association only exists for 30 years. So
Mhm.
it started after I left, but it's a big association there, and they play all the international polo teams come through and play the U.S. polo team. So they've made my foundation the beneficiary of their live and silent auction this year.
Great. Wow.
So, which is great because Newport is one of those pretty high end places in Rhode Island, and so we get a chance to go, and I've never been to a polo match, in
Mhm.
my life, but I'm gonna go to the polo match the next day, and it's been great. So we're gathering stuff together. The auction is August 6th, so it's in a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of nice. So I still am able to still raise some money, at least by not being able to have the Celebrity Classic, the Golf Classic, we're still able to raise some money through the auction and keep helping people in Rhode Island. We did a big food thing earlier in the year where we gave away food vouchers. We gave away, oh God, I don't know how many food vouchers. I guess 400 food vouchers.
Mhm.
And it was nice because they were $100 vouchers, and they were at this incredible place in Rhode Island, and it was home delivery. So you didn't have to do anything.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just had to call up and they deliver it right to you. So I went right into the community because everybody doesn't think there's black people in Rhode Island, but there's hoods in Rhode Island. So I went right to the community. We went to the Boys and Girls Club. We went to the rec centers, and we gave out these vouchers, and it was amazing. And I worked together with one of the most incredible people in Rhode Island, Coach Ed Cooley, who's the coach of the Providence College. So together we did it together, and we gave out these food vouchers, and it was unbelievable. I mean, people were in tears because the pandemic was just so rough on
Yeah.
everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So the foundation, we continue to try to do good things in Rhode Island with the foundation, and next year we'll have the Celebrity Golf Classic again.
Okay, we're kind of ramping back up to full level of activity. This pandemic has really changed just about everything about our
Yeah,
lives
without a
in a
doubt.
lot of ways, and you can't really jump all the way back in with both feet right away for some things, but it's good to see you're still able to do this, and I applaud you. I applaud you because not everybody does everything that they can do, and
Right.
I'm sure it's greatly appreciated, and you know, for you to be attached to something, with the stature of your career and everything like that, I think it really adds an impetus to the people, and especially the younger kids who see you and they know what you do, and then they see you reach out to them personally, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
I applaud you on that. I really do.
Well, thank you, man. It's the best feeling that I've ever had. I know it sounds cliche, but giving is so much better than receiving. When you're able to give and light somebody's life up, it's an awesome feeling,
I know it is.
man.
I know it is. Well, Jeffrey, and like you said, you're back touring. You have an engagement, and we're recording this on the 22nd of July. You have an engagement tomorrow, right? California.
Yeah, in Newport Beach at the Hyatt. They usually do a big jazz festival
Mhm.
in Newport Beach, and they probably will. But then they have a little signature series where it's kind of more intimate. They have an outdoor amphitheater at the Hyatt, and yeah, we have a show tomorrow. Actually, I'm leaving after this interview because I'm going to go
Oh,
down the day before,
Mhm.
and it's me and Gerald Albright is on the show also.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Gerald's amazing, man. I love Gerald.
Hmm.
So it should be fun. Yeah, it's the first show I've done here in California since the pandemic. And then, next week we're in Philly. you know.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then, well, I think I'm working every week after starting tomorrow. We're
Mhm.
working almost every week out there, and they keep adding dates. You know, interesting. You know, the pandemic is, you know, it's affected us so badly. I mean, there are dates in on my website that may not still happen. You
Yeah.
know, we don't even know. People,
Well,
they'll
see,
say, well, you know,
things vary from state to state,
yes,
what's open,
exactly.
what's not open, and everything. But I'm really looking forward to seeing you here in Philly. I'm trying my best. Tickets are moving real fast,
Oh
but
yeah, well, you know, that's a
I'm gonna
great
try to
venue.
get there. Yeah. Oh, the
That's a
Dell
great venue, man.
Music
The
Center.
Dell
Yeah.
is Dell is a great venue. I always enjoy doing that. I just love the audiences in Philly are amazing,
Oh
man.
yeah. Well, you've been here many times, so I know. And
Yeah,
I'm looking forward
yeah.
to seeing you and also on the Soul Train cruise. And hopefully you'll sing one of my favorite songs.
What's that?
That song is "Won't You Stay With Me" from the LTD days.
Oh man, I haven't
Yeah.
sung that song in a long time.
Won't you?
Right?
But no, I
Stay
mean,
with me. Yeah. Well,
but I
you go
mean,
back, man. You're going
I
back on me.
I go back. Yeah, that's right. But Jeffrey, man, thank you so much for spending some time with us and with the Soul Train Cruise family. I don't call it
Right.
fans and guests, and it was family. And you're
Exactly.
definitely part of the family, and we do appreciate you, man. We love you. We love what you do, and the music that you bring is so much feeling, so much warmth, so much quality there. You still sound great, as I mentioned, and people are excited. People are already talking about it. Can't wait for the next cruise. 2022. It's coming. We're about six months out or so, something like that.
Yeah, it'll be here before you know it. You getting me hyped up now. I'm like, oh, I'm ready. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah, man. Let's do that. Let's do that. But thank you so much, Jeffrey, for spending some time with us.
Hey, it's been my pleasure, man. I'm really looking forward to the cruise, you know. It just means so much to be around so many incredible entertainers. You know, like you said, we get a chance to sit down and talk, and we all have such incredible stories that we reflect on going back. It's amazing. It's an amazing time.
It really is. All right, everybody. Soul Train Cruise
All
guests,
right.
families, Mr. Jeffrey Osborne. Thank you again, Jeffrey.
I'll see you there.
All righty.
All
There you
right.
go. You got it. Love, peace, and soul. Jerry
I
Wells
hear
here for
you.
the Soul Train Cruise.